George Reynolds, the landlord of the Crown here in Old Harlow, you must be very pleased that you're going to reopen on July the 4th.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. We're waiting for the day to reopen. From a business point of view, it's money coming in. From a purpose of life, we're treading time and not doing anything, not building it. And we took the pub over about a year ago, February of last year. And the first year is a lot of getting to know it. It's the first time that either myself and my wife had run a pub. We were interested in pubs from the other side of the bar. So we took it on. So in the first year, you put a lot in. And you get to that first year, you've done everything once. You've met all the challenges you think you can meet. And then suddenly, a new one appears that nobody really thought about. So yeah, looking forward to the 4th of July. Yeah.
So was March a real shock for you? When eventually it came to you're going to have to shut, that was like...
It was in a way. I mean, bizarrely, over the period of, you come across old newspapers, and I've seen papers from like January, February, and there was, there's this virus in Wuhan in China, and some people have had concerned about it. The World Health Organization said there's little indication that it shows much human-to-human transmission. So it was all pretty much like that. And then it all seemed to take off. And we had that first announcement from the Prime Minister, which was, it, on hindsight, looking back, was an attempt to keep the economy open, but reducing people being together. And it was along the lines of, pubs can stay open, but don't go to them. It seemed an oddly contradictory piece of advice. But on the basis that that was announced on the Monday, and then effectively it said it'd be 3 weeks before this would be reviewed, I was adamant that the pubs wouldn't be shut. Adamant to the point I would have taken bets. Thankfully, nobody took me up on it. And then suddenly on the Friday night, it was just closed. So that was a shock. And we weren't prepared for it. To show how ill prepared for it was, I had a full cellar. And literally half an hour before the announcement came through, we tapped 2 brand new barrels. So there was no real thought that it was going to happen suddenly like that. But then maybe looking back, should have thought it might have been. But yeah.
So when you say open Saturday, July the 4th, what preparations will you have to make?
Well, obviously there's following the guidelines and following the regulations. We need to offer my interpretation of things, and to some degree there is an amount of interpretation in the legislation. A key one to me was table service, because table service is difficult here for 2 reasons. One, because it's a small pub, and actually we're probably increasing human-to-human contact by doing table service than we are to maybe having 2 possible areas to get served, or having this bar to get served, but working out a way of people staying apart. But secondly, from a cost point of view, because there's no doubt our income is going to be reduced. So top line's reduced, but if I have to put table-to-table service in, costs are going up. Now, even boys' own economics tells you that's not a good sum. And pubs, for all the issues that go on with them, they're not money makers. You can make a living, but they're not money makers. And so that was always going to be a bit of a challenge. So we're looking at and trying to provide a COVID-safe, or as safe as we can possibly get it, environment. But you are asking people to have a degree of responsibility for themselves. Although the open brackets to that is, it is a pub. So sometimes your ability to make good decisions can sometimes get a bit obscure as the evening goes on. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to operate a system, and then really this weekend is we're due to come in and relay the tables out. So that so it's really going to be an environment where you've got to sit down, which is a problem for us, but it's an environment where you're going to have to sit down. We're looking at potentially putting dividers between the tables so that we can maintain this amount of tables. So if we will put a divider in between the tables. If that's not practical, and we've got someone coming this weekend to look at doing that, we'll need to then take some of the tables out so that they're spaced apart. The bar through there, the way the tables are laid out, creates a big open space for standing. That's the whole design of the pub. But we can separate those tables out, effectively half them out, and have the tables dotted all over the floor. And that will work for Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, 12 o'clock till 5 o'clock, because generally that's the kind of trade that you're comfortably with. We're looking at how we go in and out of the toilets to make sure that people are distanced. Possibly having a one-way system. We've got the garden, which is a great godsend, and at the moment we're, literally before you arrived, so we're looking at the garden and extending the bottom part of the garden, which is a bit of a dead area. But in essence, it's about 20% of the square footage of the garden floor. So that will give us more seats, more ability to put more people in, but still keep them safe and keep them apart. Hand sanitizers, signs are all getting made up. We're going to put hand sanitizers at all the doors. The 1 metre plus rule, in the sense we're going to have a number of 1 metre indicators around just to show this is what a metre is, this is what we are. The tables that we've got in the windows there, again, we'll put a divider between the two bays so that people can use the back-to-back, which is allows us to maintain some capacity, but also keep people as safe as we can, to be honest. It'll be a management challenge. How do we deal with a surge of people trying to come into the pub at any one time? How do we deal with a group of, we've got 3 doors, and in essence 4 doors. We don't have doormen or anything. That's not that type of pub. So we're trying to manage through the pub there, and 7 people come wandering in here, and they've got 2 friends over there, and they're all gathering around the table. Those kind of management issues, those kind of social issues, we will have to. I've got staff training planned for next week, so that we can all the staff know exactly the procedures we want to put in place, from hand washing to table wiping down when someone leaves the table. I mean, these were procedures we had in place sort of before the shutdown came. We had we have a sort of little clock at the back there that goes pinging every 30 minutes, and the priority then is, if there's only one staff member on, they would go around and wipe down the tables. Customers, you're just going to have to wait 5 minutes. I'm just going to wipe all the tables down. Continuing that, and basically, yeah, a family effort as well. I mean, my 2 sons are university, so they're sitting at home, seeming to not have a great deal of problem with self-isolating in their bedroom. But the 4 of us are obviously form a unit that can comfortably work closely together as we live together. And so that will be the predominant way that we'll run and staff a lot of the business. We've got some great staff members, and it's a case of how we integrate them back into the business and how we make sure that they're safe as well, because at the end of the day, that's got to be a big priority for us. We don't want to put our staff in any harm's way.
Do you expect an inspector to come in at any stage or anything like that?
In essence, I suppose, I hope so, because that would mean that there is a level of inspection through the town. That would mean that everybody's got to keep a certain high standard. But with the resources that local councils have got, with everything else that's going on, I would be surprised. I'd be pleasantly surprised, but I would probably be surprised.
And have you looked at the reasons? So some pubs, for example, the 3 Horseshoes across town, have got a long list of reasons why they're not opening. Do you look at that and think, I can sympathise with that?
Absolutely, yeah, I can sympathise enormously. And a lot of the reasons that are safety, cost as well. I mean, there is an element which says, is it worthwhile opening? I mean, very rudimentary numbers for us is we're open 7 days a week, broadly 12 to 11. Now, the average sales on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are probably the same, give or take. One day is maybe better than the other, but generally those days you would say is our standard trading day. Now, take that standard trading day across the 7 days. That pays for the pub, that pays the costs, that pays the rent, it pays the electricity, the power, the staff. Where we make a living is the plus bit that we get on a Friday and a Saturday. Now, I'm not sure the plus bit is going to be there. So, yeah, we need to look to the future and how we can increase and improve the profitability in the pub. But that's a concern. So yeah, I do have an awful lot of sympathy. I mean, I think one of the big pub chains, I can't remember who it is, said they're not open until the end of July because they want to just let this settle down and see what happens. And there is a degree of sense in that. For us, we're looking at it as we can run it with a cost based on family, and you know that allows us to staff issue at times that might allow us to push forward.
Do you look at perhaps maybe September or the end of the year and you think we probably might be back to normal, or is that just wishful thinking?
So far during the whole crisis, I've managed to consistently predict everything wrong. So I'd like to say no, we definitely won't be back to normal by Christmas, in the hope that it might be the other way around. I think it depends on a lot of unknown variables, really. I mean, obviously, there is some strong opinion that we're going to have a second spike, that we're going to have another, in fact, the paper today said the government's planning for twice the amount than it was last year, that probably over planning. But also confidence. I mean, ultimately, for this pub to get back in its feet and be the pub that it was, it's confidence. It's people coming in and feeling comfortable. Now that's going to mean either there's a vaccine, which I don't think anyone holds any real serious hope for, or the virus is reduced to such a minimal amount that it becomes a little bit like SARS and the bird flu and things like that. That it's all there. That we obviously don't have any local spikes, because if we have a local spike in the town, that'll hit people's confidence enormously. But I mean, otherwise, even on the Friday night when we eventually had to close, the announcement came out and it was closed that night. We were rammed, absolutely rammed. You couldn't get moving in here because people were coming out for a last hurrah. I mean, they were singing, "We'll meet again, we'll drink again, don't know where, don't know when," all this. Now, people's confidence, I think, has changed over that time. And I think now people would come and go, "Too busy, not going in there, don't feel comfortable in there." For us to get back to Saturday night with a band, every single square inch of the floor got somebody's feet on it, will take a lot of confidence, and I think that we will struggle to get that back any time before a year, I suspect. I think we'll need to go through the winter of snuffles, flus and colds, some COVID respike, back into spring, handle it better, and it moves away from the public psyche.